He's 19, she's 14, and together they left a trail of bodies from Lincoln, Nebraska to the edge of Wyoming. A killing spree so shocking, it makes front-page news in 1958, and decades later inspires Bruce Springsteen to pick up his guitar and sing, "I can't say that I'm sorry for the things that we done, at least for a little while. Me and her, we had us some fun." But this isn't a song. This is the real story of Charles Starkweather and Caril Ann Fugate, the young lovers who turned the Midwest into a graveyard. Thanks for watching. I'm Amy. Let's recap. Have you seen the new Bruce Springsteen biopic, Deliver Me From Nowhere? Well, if you caught it, you already know it that kind of shines a spotlight on the making of his very stark 1982 record, Nebraska. And, since we're all true crime fans here, you probably noticed that the song was inspired by one of the most terrifying killing sprees in American history. But, we're not here for the song. We're here for the crime. Well, meet Charles Starkweather. He's short, bow-legged, his fiery red hair makes him an easy target in school. So he's bullied, humiliated, he's pissed off about it. And then he sees Rebel Without a Cause. And that does it for him. James Dean isn't just a movie star. To Charlie, he's this blueprint. So he starts slicking back his hair, he's wearing jeans and leather, he's scowling at anyone who dares to make eye contact. But the thing about pretending to be James Dean is, James Dean dies at the end. Charlie must have missed that part. But by 19, he's working as a garbage collector in Lincoln, Nebraska. While he's hauling other people's trash, he's also studying their houses, their cars, their little comforts. And he starts mapping out what he can take. He's dating Caril Ann Fugate, a 14-year-old schoolgirl with braces, bubblegum, crush on danger. She sees him as exciting, he's older, he's bad boy, but her family does not approve. They think that he is trouble, and they are absolutely right. Because Charlie does not take rejection well. He takes it personally, fatally personally. They don't want him to be with their daughter. They just don't know how bad this guy really is. On November 30th, 1957, a few months before everything kicks off, he takes his first life. He'd gone into a Lincoln gas station trying to buy a stuffed animal for Caril, something sweet, kind of innocent. But when the attendant tells him, "Dude, you cannot have the stuffed animal on credit," of course not, no deal, something snaps. Charles pulls out his gun, robs the register, and forces this 19-year-old into his car, drives him out to a stretch of frozen dirt road, marches him into the ditch, and shoots him in the head, all over this toy. Now, less than 2 months later, on January 21st, 1958, this killing spree kicks off in earnest when he walks into Caril's family home with a shotgun. Inside are her mother, her stepfather, and her 2-year-old half-sister, Betty Jean. He kills them all. Fast, cold, final. He drags their bodies outside, hides them in like a shed, tapes a note to the front door, something like, "Stay away, the family's down with the flu." Neighbors notice that same flu note taped to the door for days. The curtains are staying closed. Something is definitely not right. But by the time the cops come knocking, the couple has already hit the highway. Their first stop, Bennett, Nebraska, the home of August Meyer, a 70-year-old family friend of Charlie's who'd once helped him when his car broke down. Nice man. But this time, Charlie says hello and thank you with a shotgun blast to the head. Then he kills Meyer's dog because cruelty is just part of the routine now. So they stay in the old man's farmhouse for a few days. They're eating what's there. They're using his things like this twisted Goldilocks scenario. When they finally take off in his car, they don't get far before the next tragedy finds them. 2 local teenagers, Robert Jensen and Carol King, stop to offer a hand when their stolen car gets stuck in the mud. It's the kind of small town kindness people expect in Nebraska. But Charlie is not about kindness, he's about violence. And both teens end up in a storm cellar, shot execution style. And just like that, they're back on the road in Robert Jensen's stolen car. Next stop is Lincoln's fancy neighborhood, the country club crowd. Big lawns, white fences, a place where crime usually does happen somewhere else. According to the book, Outside Valentine, Charles turns to Caril and says, "You pick the place, pick a house you like." And she does. She points to this big white mansion. It's the home of Chester and Clara Ward, the kind of place where the door knocker probably costs more than your first car. They break in. Inside, Charles goes full home invasion horror show. He stabs Clara, strangles the maid, and shoots Chester dead. Just like that, one of the safest zip codes in Nebraska is a crime scene. The next morning, the two take off in the Ward's sleek black Packard. They're cruising past police barricades like ghosts. By now, the entire state is in lockdown. 200 members of the National Guard are patrolling the streets of Lincoln. There's roadblocks stretch across the highway like spider webs. Schools close early. Parents keep their kids home. Radio alerts blare across the Midwest. Be on the lookout for a redheaded man and a teenage girl considered armed and dangerous. And Nebraska is not sleeping tonight. Charlie and Caril tear out of the state. They're heading into Wyoming. They're desperate. They're cornered. They got no plan. In Douglas, Wyoming, they spot a car parked off the highway. It's a traveling shoe salesman catching a nap. Charlie creeps up, pulls the trigger, and steals the man's Buick, or he tries to. He can't figure out the parking brake on the stolen car. It's jammed, and he's fuming. And that's when another motorist pulls over to help. He's trying to be nice. He sees these two kids stranded on the side of the highway. He pulls over. Well, Charlie pulls out a gun, and the two of them start wrestling for control right there on the side of the road. But as fate would have it, that's when a patrol car rolls by. A deputy slows down. He sees the struggle. He stops. And that's when Caril bolts. She runs straight over to the cop. She's screaming, Starkweather's a killer. He's been holding her hostage. And now it's officially a movie. Charlie jumps back into the Ward's Packard. He tears off, tires screaming. Police are in hot pursuit. Now this chase is short, but it's intense. Guns drawn, bullets flying, sirens wailing, and then comes the shot. A bullet shatters the rear window, spraying glass into Charlie's side of his neck, his ear. He's bleeding. He's cut by the glass. He's stunned by the sight of his blood, and he finally quits. He slams the brakes, throws up his hands, surrenders. This outlaw fantasy is over. So they're both arrested that day, January 29, 1958. They left 10 people dead in 8 days. 8 days. And now things get very messy very fast. Caril Ann insists she was a hostage, says Charles threatened to kill her family if she didn't do exactly what he wanted, and she claims she didn't even know that he had already killed them. In her version, she's following orders because she thinks her family is still alive and in danger. She's trying to, not get killed herself, is what she says. So prosecutors respond with the courtroom equivalent of a raised eyebrow and a slow, skeptical sip of coffee. Because to them, she is the teenage Bonnie to his Clyde, this willing sidekick who had chances to escape and didn't. But, she says she was terrified, she was trapped, she's just surviving. Now, at first, Charlie backed her up. But then he changed his story to say that she was involved. So the whole thing turns into less of this he said, she said, and more of a guess who's lying, because somebody definitely is. Now, just when you think that Charlie Starkweather can't get any more unsettling, he decides to write his parents a letter from jail. And it is a lot. In it, he tells his dad, but Dad, I'm not real sorry for what I did, because for the first time, me and Caril had more fun. Fun. 10 dead bodies. He's calling it fun. And yeah, you can see the correlation between the Bruce Springsteen song and the letter. He pulled it from Charles' own words. And that cold, flat, I'm not sorry energy follows Charlie straight into the courtroom, where the jury does not need long to decide what to do with Nebraska's most dangerous teenager. Charles Starkweather is sentenced to death, and the state wastes no time making it official. On June 25th, 1959, they strap him into the electric chair at the Nebraska State Pen. At 12:04 a.m., the switch flips. One jolt, no last-minute twist, no last words, just a hard stop to this story that tore through the Midwest like a runaway car on black ice. But Caril Ann faces a very different fate. She's 15 when she goes on trial, making her at that time the youngest person in U.S. history to be tried and convicted for first-degree murder. Not a title anyone wants engraved on a plaque. She serves 17 years, keeping a perfect behavior record the entire time. No fights, no infractions, no prison movie cliches. In 1976, she's released on parole. She moves, she marries, she changes her name, she tries to build a totally ordinary life. But the thing about a case this infamous, it doesn't just fade because the people in it want it to. Caril spends the next 4 decades insisting she was a victim, that she never killed anyone, that she didn't even know her family was dead until the police told her. Now, some people believe her. Some people definitely don't. And the state of Nebraska, well, as of the year 2020, they still refuse to pardon her. Now, Hollywood naturally couldn't keep its hands off a story like this. In 1973, it turned it into the movie Badlands. A couple decades later, Brad Pitt and Juliette Lewis take a grittier stab at it in the movie California. Have you seen that? It is super disturbing, crazy. Lot of Very disturbing. And finally, Oliver Stone's movie Natural Born Killers comes out in 1994. Also super, super disturbing. But you know what? Here's the twisty part that I can't stop thinking about. Charles Starkweather wanted notoriety. He wanted the headlines, the infamy, the legend, and he got it. It's just, not the type that comes with red carpets or applause.